Welcome to the Expona Audio Insider Podcast. My name is Lenny Florentine, and I am here with Jeff Earl from Lenbook America. What's up, man?
Hey, Lenny, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure because today we're going to be talking about two of my favorite brands, and that's going to be BlueSound and NAD, which is going to be a good time. I'm excited. Are you ready?
Yeah, I am. That's awesome, Lenny. Thank you.
So maybe we'll start off with NAD. Because NAD has a big history. And actually, before we even get to there, tell me a little bit about yourself and your history in the hi-fi business with Lenbrook and how you get into hi-fi.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So I'm currently looking after NAD and Bluesound as the brand manager for North America. I've been with Lembrick for almost 25 years now in all kinds of different capacities over the years in the sales and brand development. So got a long history with both NAD and even with the birth of Bluesound just over a decade ago. So it's been a really exciting trip through the hi-fi years with Lembrick.
Do you remember your first hi-fi system?
I do, and I knew you were going to ask me that. But I had a kind of funny story about my first hi-fi system, and it's probably not different from a lot of us in this industry. Now, I came home with this department store hi-fi system that I thought was the coolest thing in the world. It had lights and graphic equalizers and stuff everywhere. And I was showing it off, and a friend came over and said, "You got to come see this. Come to," and it was a local hi-fi shop. "Come to the local hi-fi shop and have a listen to what we have there." So I came over to the local hi-fi shop, and I was blown away. So my department system went back to the department store, and I started off my first hi-fi system with two brands that I really love, which is NAD Electronics and PSB speakers.
Did you
So
have a 3020?
I didn't. I was. I'm not that.
Tried.
Yeah, you tried. I'm not. I'm a
I had
little
a
older than
pretty good
that.
chance.
No, it was a 705 with a 513 CD player and a pair of PSB speakers. And that was the
Nice.
beginning of it, right? And from there, it was just snowballed with various upgrades and swapping out equipment, and I was hooked from there on.
And that's interesting how it worked out, and now you represent them, which is wild.
Yeah, it was a cool story because it was right before I had moved off to university. So I packed up my hi-fi system and brought it to my dorm, and I was the guy in the dorm with the coolest hi-fi system. People wanted to come over and see it and hear it. So eventually, they started asking, "Well, where would I get something like this?" Well, hold on, I'll could put you in touch with my hi-fi store that I've been educated with as well. And slowly I became kind of known as the guy around campus as the NAD and PSB guy. So, fast forward a few years, I graduate, and the first company I headed for was Lenbrook.
That is unbelievable. That is really a wild. So you were already doing sales for them before you were doing sales for them. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And NAD has a big history, a long running history. I actually have one behind me. I got the 3050, which was kind of a remake of one of the original, I think it was the 3050,
30, yep,
3060, something like that.
30.
The silver one, now they made it in black. I love this thing. It's one of the glowing meters and everything cool back there. So I love having that in the set. It's amazing. But give me a little history of NAD.
Yeah, sure. So we're a company that's over 50 years old now. We celebrated our 50 years with that product, the 3050 limited edition. We're known for high performance and simplicity. We're a hi-fi company, an amplifier company, and more recently, becoming known, of course, through our BluOS multi-room high-res audio platform to be a streaming company too. So we've got all of these coming into products that are really leading new categories for us.
So, they've been around for over 50 years now. And what are some of their newer products that they have in the past year or so? Or is there anything that you guys are debuting this year?
At Expona last year, we debuted for the first time in North America the M66, the NAD Master Series M66, which was our preamp streaming DAC. That was the first show that we were able to show it off, and we're showing that off again this year in two locations. So we've got a room that will have an M66 and M23 and Dali Epicore 3s, which is a sweetheart of a system. And in another room, we've got another M66 and M23 powering for home audio, their showcase.
And the
So
M66, that's the is that the upgraded model of the 33? The 33 was very popular.
the 33 very popular was an integrated amp. So it had amplification on board, where the M66 is just a streaming DAC preamp. So you need to add amplification, which is the partner is the M23, as I suggested there.
Awesome. That sounds like a great system.
Yeah, it's a cool system.
And the M series is the higher end, correct?
Yes.
So what are the different series that people can look at with NAD?
So our Masters series, which is denoted by the M, it's our flagship series. It's the flagship where all of our technologies are derived from. So it showcases the latest in technology with the Master series. It's got a higher end build quality. It's our highest performance product. The Classic series is our more mainstream product, and a lot of those technologies will trickle down from the Master series. Things more recently like Encore and hybrid digital amplification platforms that first debuted in Master series and now are the core components of our integrated amplifiers.
All right, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about those couple systems that you guys have with the M series that trickle down. Can you explain those for us?
Yeah, so the M series, we've got kind of the M66, as I mentioned, preamp, and M23 power amp with the Purifi amplification modules in it. That's our flagship separates. The M33 is an integrated amp version of that. So it incorporates that amplifier technology within one chassis for a streaming integrated amplifier. There is an alternative product from the traditional chassis looking pieces called the M10 version 3. We've just released the version 3, and it's a more lifestyle looking piece. It's a smaller footprint with a beautiful fit and finish on it, glass top panel, touchscreen on the front. It's certainly a sexier looking piece for hi-fi than you'd know in the traditional larger chassis. So that's really the core of our two-channel Master Series product. We also have an M17 V2i, which is a AV processor, and an M28 multi-channel amplifier for anyone looking to do surround sound capability.
So the Pure technology, did I have that right?
Purifi, yeah.
Purify technology. What is that exactly?
So Purifi technology is an amplifier technology. It's kind of the third evolution of the HiPex modules. So HiPex came on the scene, I'm going to call it 10 or 12 years ago for us, roughly. Its first upgrade was into a new technology called Encore, and the third variation of it is now Purifi. And we're getting at each stage higher performance and lower levels of distortion. And I keep hearing my engineering team say the same thing. We keep reaching the limits of the measuring capabilities of the equipment that does the measurements. Like, we're so low in distortion now that it's almost unmeasurable with today's equipment. So the level of performance has really set a new bar over the years.
So one thing that's really been an interesting thing with NAD over the years is you have the modules in the back, so that you can kind of you could get one component and it can last you for several years or decade plus or more, because you can actually upgrade it throughout the years. Does the Master Series also have that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have kind of two variations of that. We have MDC, it's called Modular Design Construction. And they're really just cards that are based in the chassis that allow the upgradability or serviceability of technology that's on board. So we have it in our AV product, and those cards could include things like HDMI, and we've seen HDMI evolve over the years through different video resolutions. We also have cards that have audio technology on them. So as the surround formats became, as new formats came on the scene, we were able to add those to a receiver without making that product obsolete, so the customer could upgrade. In the case of our two-channel product, we've got upgradability in terms of adding new features. You can add BluOS, you can add multi-room streaming to a traditional chassis piece, which is really, really cool. Or add other functionality to it. We've had cards that do HDMI switching, so you could create a very simple 2.1 system, media system, that had HDMI switching involved in it. So this cards really have allowed us to expand the capabilities of our products and allow our customers to upgrade them.
So I have another question, but before I get to it, is it BluOS or BluOS?
It's BluOS.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I pronounce a lot of things wrong on purpose, and controversial brands I say in different ways to get the comments going, but I've actually never heard it said as BluOS.
It might be a
Everyone
Canadian
says
thing, I
BluOS. But
yeah,
then again, everybody doesn't say NAD either, which makes for really interesting conversations.
it certainly does. Yeah, yeah, I've heard that. NAD, NAD, yeah, it goes back and forth, but NAD is the official name.
So the BluOS, man, I'm gonna have to get used to it now. This is great. See, I already learned something, which is
There you
incredible.
go.
This is one of the most interesting things that you guys have come up with in the past several years, and you've had several iterations of it. And going from the MDS, replaceable cards in the back, being able to upgrade the BluOS as it progresses. So let's talk about the BluOS for a little bit, because this is something that not only are in NAD products and Bluesound products, but these are all over the hi-fi world. BluOS is a huge thing.
Yeah, it's a good point. Maybe we just need to kind of back up a second and get to where BluOS what is, because BluOS really started as the foundation of Bluesound. Okay, it's the ecosystem, or it's the software that Bluesound runs on. So Bluesound, of course, being one of our sister brands, also owned by Lenbook, was created through the same engineering resources as NAD is. So it's an audio company. We're a streaming company that actually was built from the audio world. So we have components there that are streamers, powered streamers, standalone speakers, sound bars. There's a whole collection of products there, and they all run on BluOS. So where BluOS kind of comes into the NAD world and others, as you mentioned, is we have the ability to take that ecosystem and put it into an NAD product, or put it into one of our licensed partners products, and it talks to all the Bluesound products or anything that's on the BluOS network. So your NAD traditional chassis style piece can talk to your pulse speaker that's in the kitchen, or your sound bar, or as you reach back to your 3050 that's probably got BluOS on it.
It's got it.
Yeah, that's right. So you can talk in this big ecosystem. You're not limited to just one particular brand of products. We can expand across our own brands, NAD, through it, Bluesound, through PSB, to other third-party licensed brands.
That's amazing. And the software just keeps evolving over time. You get, and we'll get into the different Bluesound products as well. But you guys seem, very, like you said, up to date, and just always feeling like you've reached the max, and then you just go even further, making a better product, time and time again on all that. So having those integrated into the NAD product line and being able to switch them out over time, it adds more value, to the NAD Classic series, the NAD Master series, which is, one of the big things. Like, you don't want to have to go buy, especially in AVRs, right? You don't want to have to go buy a new AVR, and that's what you have to do every time technology changes. And even though video hasn't changed in the past few years, if when everything starts really going 8K and everything, and you guys have a module that adjusts the HDMI so you don't have to re-upgrade your receiver, is wild.
Yeah,
Like, that's just unheard of.
yeah. Typically, the amplification doesn't get outdated, so you can add in technology that does have some life cycles to it. HDMI being that great example.
And you guys have your amplification. Can you talk a little bit about the amplification you guys use in the Master Series?
For the most part, I believe it's all purified now. Nope, that's not true. The M10 is using the Encore. So it's still that HiPEX module, the three different variations we talk about. And we're using the Purify modules in the M33, the M23, and the M28 power amplifiers. And then the M10 V3 is using a module called the Encore. So it's really a good, better, best kind of scenario through the HiPEX team.
That's amazing. And I love the 3050 guys threw that like nostalgia out at us, about a year or so ago, which is just so cool. It's one of my favorite receivers or integrated amps. I don't even know what you would call it. I guess it's a receiver because you can stream to it.
Well, that has been kind of the argument, right? It was an integrated amp, but now it has all the capabilities of a modern day receiver. It's got internet radio on it. You can stream to it. You can access music like you would have with an old AM/FM receiver. But
Yeah, it doesn't need a tuner to be a receiver anymore. You just got to be able to stream, and I mean,
it's
you
there.
can do it right from there. It's amazing. It has meters. Who doesn't like meters?
And I was going to say, who doesn't love the meters, right?
Who doesn't love the meters? And now you can put BluOS. It's going to take me a little
BlueOS
while there.
does.
It's going to put the BluOS in it, and this is something that was really is very much what all the Bluesound product runs on. And I know in the past year, you guys have had 3 new Bluesound products. So let's go over to Bluesound a little bit and talk a little bit about these. And let's start with the Node, right? Because a lot of people are familiar with the Node, but you guys had a new edition in 2024. What changed in that?
So we launched 3 nodes at the end of 2024. So a whole family of nodes. We went from a single node in the family to 3. The good, better, and best approach was used with the node. So if we start with the traditional node, the middle ground one, the middle ground one got a new DAC. That was the real big story for that product. And with that, brought in the ability to have some new features. DIRAC Ready. Okay, DIRAC Ready was direct room correction, previously kind of only on our NAD products, is now available for a customer to enable a license with a node.
And is that DAC by any chance? So you guys had the anniversary edition, the silver node. They came out, and that one had a different DAC.
It did. Yeah.
That was extreme. Is it the same style as that, or was it even better one?
It went up another level. Yeah.
Wow.
For ESS 9039.
It's so funny. We were hooking up a system for somebody in Fort Wayne, Indiana this past week, and he had a brand new Node X, the anniversary edition that he didn't open yet. They've been sold out for a while. I mean, that's back a year and a half or so. But these are very people really like these, and it was cool just kind of hooking that up after not seeing them for a while. So, what DAC's in the new one?
9039 ESS
9039.
Yeah. So actually, that DAC is across the whole node family. It's done a couple different implementations, but it's across the whole node family. So if you take that best category, and we go down a price point to what we call the Node Nano. And the Node Nano is an entry-level streamer with similar performance to our better node. So it's got the same DAC. It's got a slightly different power supply, so it's an outboard power supply. And to get those costs down for an entry-level price point, the inputs have been removed. So you can't go in with a coax or a digital or an HDMI. You don't have that ability. It's just an output device, with the exception that AirPlay and Bluetooth are still part of the input scenarios there because they're virtual inputs. So it's really just a streamer at that point, but shares the same DAC. So it sounds great. And then you move to the node, you get more inputs, you get a better power supply. And then finally you move to our real sweetheart, which is the Node Icon.
And this looks really. I have not actually seen this one yet in person. No, I haven't.
It's hard to get right now.
And yeah, right. So I thought this was I'm actually very interested in this one because you added a screen.
So physically, if you look at the product, it's a bigger platform. There's a screen on the front. So now you have beautiful album art and some visual feedback there right on the screen. So that's kind of the big design news. But internally, we're now going to some pretty premium audio features. It's a dual DAC. So there's 2 9039s in there. They're in a balanced configuration. There's balanced XLR outputs. There's a better power supply. So we've put in more guts there for that audio enthusiast who wants the best performing node that they can get. And we've delivered just that.
And this has a volume control as well, so you could use it as a preamp?
All of them do, actually. So you can set any of the node family to both a fixed or a variable out. So, and on all of them, you have the ability to turn the volume up and down, either via the app or right on the product itself.
And people integrate these into all different types of systems. I mean, you can put them in anything, and having a good, better, best. I mean, that's an amazing idea. I mean, the node's been around for quite a few years now, different iterations. I remember one time I did a video and I held the Node up and I dropped it. It was just kind of like a beginning of the video, trying to get people to kind of watch it. And I had a pillow on the floor, and that pillow was not in the spot that I dropped it. And so I dropped it about 6 feet to the cement, and but it still worked, and it worked for years. So it's like the thing that I remember every time I hear about a node is I remember just holding it up and realizing that the pillow was in the wrong spot and just not stopping and just going forward with the filming.
I mean, it's an interesting point, yeah, because those things they're built like hi-fi products. They're not built like empty boxes, little shells. They're beautifully built. They've got weight to them.
And you guys also have some that have amplification, correct?
Yes, we've got a family called the PowerNode. So there's two versions in the PowerNode. They differ really by power. That's really the main differentiation with them. We've got a PowerNode Edge and then a PowerNode. The PowerNode's been in the lineup for probably the longest time, and the Edge came in a couple of years ago as a more entry-level option for someone building their first hi-fi system, perhaps. Like, that was really starting to take over what we talked about earlier as the receiver was now a PowerNode. So it was the heart of a new system with a pair of speakers.
So now you guys are always like on the cutting edge of everything. A lot of products use your BluOS. See, I got it. I got it now. I got it down, and I can't wait to just tell everyone.
That's awesome.
So a lot of people are using this technology, and you guys are really on the forefront of that. Where do you see hi-fi in the next 5 or 10 years? Where do you see this going?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, more and more integration for sure. As we'll see BluOS expand into so many different products. Like, it really is the heart of what we do now. So I think we're going to keep seeing new styles of products with integration like BluOS in them to address all kinds of different customer needs. From standalone speakers to components, it's just going to continue to grow and spread with really the BluOS driving force.
And you see that a lot where, I don't know if it's just a style thing or a minimalistic thing, but a lot of people are going maybe smaller. They're going, powered speakers, or they're going everything in a smaller box. Would you say that's kind of maybe where we're headed? Or is it kind of is it still like a mix? Because I know a lot of people who just want that real big system. Like, that's where it's at. But I think, mainstream, is it going a little more minimalistic?
I think it's mixed. I think there's a lot of people, myself included, who like the traditional hi-fi system approach, but others who want the minimalist approach. So powered speakers have kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit, and I think they are going to really take off as more and more young generations look for alternatives to headphones, where they don't have to be isolated with just a pair of headphones and they can play music in their environment. So I think powered speakers are going to be a big part of it. But the traditional hi-fi stuff is strong and continues to be strong, continues to be one of our most significant categories.
You can hook multiple systems up to your BluOS network, correct?
Yeah,
And play the
absolutely.
same thing over multiple systems?
Yep, yeah, you can group some, you can group all, like, you can configure your environment however you would like your music to be played. So that's often the case of a open concept home where the living room, dining room, kitchen are all in an area where you can group those areas, have one source playing. There's no lag. It's all controlled by one app. It's just very simple.
And like with inputs and stuff, like I've seen the people who want a turntable in one room and want to be able to hear it in another room, and that's totally possible. You guys even have like the hub.
It's just going to say we've got a very cool product for that called the Hub, which is very
Let's talk
much
about that.
yeah, it's a solution piece. It's to address exactly what you just said. Is I've got a turntable, my hi-fi system or the components of the hi-fi system might be buried somewhere else, but my turntable I want access to. It's in my living room. I need to physically put media on it. The Hub will put that input onto the entire BluOS network. So you can play that turntable then on any BluOS device, whether it's the one that it's in the same room for, or you can access it from another room or group it all together. The Hub's also a great solution piece for TV audio. It's got an HDMI EARC input on it. So you can put that thing behind your TV, and now your TV sound can be added anywhere on the BluOS network. means you can throw the news on the TV and have it playing in the bathroom or the kitchen on the audio system. So it's a great solution piece for adding those sources on.
Yeah, I definitely see that as kind of a thing where, even the TV, that's not even a use that I really would have thought of to you. Like I was just so like drawn to the turntable aspect of it that sometimes I forget there's an HDMI. So that's a great use for that piece. And you guys seem like you have everything kind of covered, and that's what, the BluOS kind of does. So whether you're, doing the NAD Classic series, moving up doing the NAD Master series, which is like your flagship HiFi series, which sounds amazing, by the way. I've listened to several of these that, they're very popular pieces. They're built very well. There's a lot of stuff out there that's just not built like that. The reliability in the NAD product over the years has been like way above average, just from how like everything is built. And I know people who, like, I used to do a lot of pre-owned, audio stuff, and people would trade things in, right? And I know, like, I just knew when I was getting like an NAD piece traded in that it just works,
It just works,
right?
yeah.
Like you
That's
get a
all,
CD player, it works, and somebody's gonna love it.
right.
So
Yeah. Yeah, and the value. I mean, the value for the performance with NAD is it just can't be beat, right? We really for the price categories that we participate in, we punch way above our weight class. And Master Series is a great example of that. The M23 and M66 combination, it plays in a league way above where it should. It's two of my personal favorite pieces.
and they're really nice looking too. Like they're aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, they're beautiful. I always get comments when we have those products on display.
So earlier you said you were telling me about the system, or we were talking about Expona and what systems would be on display. And we talked. You mentioned the Dali speakers, and I know we're not, that isn't the two core brands that we're talking about today. But I have to ask a question if I can about Dali, because I've heard nothing but good things about them, and everyone that I've experienced has been good. And every year at Expona, you had the really big ones. Which ones are those?
Yeah, we had the cores at one point, and then the Epicor 11s last year.
The Epicor 11s. These are just massive. And you know what was really nice is whenever I would go up to that system, they would let me play whatever I want.
There you go.
And it always made for an entertaining experience, because I would usually just put on like some Eminem or something and just to see the reaction, but it actually just sounded really good and everybody kind of liked it.
Yeah, that was something that we did that was very different at Expona the last 2 years. Was not go into the traditional hi-fi rooms and participate in a big open environment and encourage exactly what you said. Let's just play music. Let's just let people play music, and it doesn't need to be a traditional hi-fi demo. And the reaction was very similar to yours, that people just loved being able to casually come in and just hear music. And we reached everybody coming in the door for Expona. It was just such a great system approach. We've changed it this year, even though I'm building it up. We have changed it, and we've got a room that it is doing something a little bit different. We've got what we call vignettes, lifestyle vignettes, where we're showing different systems in kind of a mocked up different environment. So like a living room with an M10 and a pair of Dali speakers, and then a dorm with our PSB Alpha IQ BluOS powered speakers, and then the Roxanne piece on some PSB speakers. Like, so we've got these different systems with different kind of environments created. So something really cool. Plus, we've got like the grand system with the Dali cores there as well. So there's a whole bunch of things going on in our room this year, which should be really, really exciting.
I love that. I love when rooms do multiple things. Not everything even has to be planned. I just love the multiple aspects. You can see how you can use it, like you said, in a lifestyle situation. And that's going to be a great experience. I can't wait to come tour that room, because I'll be touring some rooms,
There you go. Yeah.
and we'll have to come see this. And I think you saying that was an open environment previously in Expona is almost even an understatement.
Yeah.
So it was on like a second level that overlooked a first level with like a a railing, and then it went up like 4 floors above that. Like it was very
Yeah.
open. Like
It was. Yeah.
it wasn't just an open concept. It was just crazy what those speakers could do, and it sounded, you would have thought that it would not have sounded good in that environment, but it
Right.
absolutely did. So I'm just, it's exciting. I love what NAD and Bluesound's doing. Is there anything like that we can look forward to coming up in the next year, or anything that we get a little hint of, or what, anything changing or any new stuff coming?
Yeah, we're a little early on that. We just released a couple NAD pieces, which was the M10 V3 and the C700 V2. So those two are really fresh from the
Well,
fall.
let's talk about those.
Yeah. So they're evolutions of two products that were already in our lineup. The M10 V3, third version of that product. The story's similar to the Node's story, where they got big DAC upgrades. So they were added to the 9038 DAC on the M10 V3. And then on the C700, we also got a DAC upgrade and added features like Dirac Ready. So Dirac Ready is really, that's the new kind of entry level option for Dirac, meaning the hardware's there, the customer just purchases a license and a mic kit should they decide to go down the path of room correction. But allows us to get Dirac into these products now without having to include licensing.
And both of these are kind of like a better best scenario, right? So the
Yeah,
C700, and then you would move up to the M10 V3.
yeah, they're the C700 is in the Classic series, the M10 V3 being in the Master series. They have a very similar form and function to them. They're smaller pieces. They're small, like half width chassis pieces. The M10 has a touchscreen. The C700 is just a screen. There's no touch on it. You control and navigate through and up. There's a better DAC in the M10, and there's better amplification in the M10. Not to mention a better fit and finish with the aluminum chassis and the glass top plate. So functionally, though, they're very similar in terms of they are streaming amplifiers, a compact streaming amplifier that you can use to build a system with a pair of speakers. The source, of course, is BluOS, and all the inputs are there to add a turntable or a CD player or any of the other components you may wish to add, including HDMI eARC.
That's awesome. I can't wait to try those as well, because I've had experience with the other iterations and generations of them, but not the new ones. So that's cool. I can't wait to see those. Is there anything else you want to mention about NAD or Bluesound before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I'll just kind of jump back to Bluesound and Expona. We're pretty excited that Icon in our room will be the first North American show that Icon was actually used as a source. So this is really cool. We're really excited about it. Of course, we were a little late in the season shipping Icon, so we were not able to debut one at any show in the fall. So this show is actually the first time we'll see Icon in a large consumer-based show in the US. So I'm really excited about that, because the M66 and M23, which we've been showing for the last show, I guess, will also be in the room. So we're able to show them too, and they'll also be in the home audio room showcasing his product. So really excited to have those components here as our staples to show off.
And if they're hard to get still, that's going to be very exciting for a lot of people to be able to see them for the first time.
Yeah, the demand has been incredible for the Icon. So we're really, really happy with that. And while I say they're hard to get, we are kind of cresting over the hill now and getting through that. So I'm happy to announce that even later this week, we will be delivering a lot of Icons to happy customers.
The Node is so popular, and now the Node series, that I can imagine why a lot of people are just jumping on the chance to get one with a screen with a better build, the dual DACs.
Dual DACs, yep.
I got it.
Got it.
So just an exciting product, and what a great line. You can integrate them into absolutely anything and start that BluOS
Got it.
family, right? You can get everything set up on that. And who wouldn't like that? Like, you could have any type of system you want and just incorporate everything together, which is really exciting.
Yeah, it's very cool. And when you expand, they all talk together, which is awesome. So there is probably one component of all this that we didn't speak about, and that's custom installation. And of course, custom installation, we have all of these products available for the integrators to put BluOS in a home that's not in a traditional HiFi piece. So all of these, we have solutions for all of that too. So we expand into a whole other category that we didn't touch on here for that solution.
I know it's widely used in the custom installation world. Not my world, but I know it is very popular.
Yeah, we have solutions for just, all these applications. So it's a really exciting time for the Bluesound brand, for the NAD brand, and for BluOS.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see all of it at Expona. It's going to be a good time. We're going to get to enjoy all the things that I haven't seen yet. I can't wait. I'm going to be, going around to all the rooms, checking everything out. It's going to be good. I can't wait to see the lifestyle room. It's going to be a good time. I thank you for joining me, Jeff. It was great having you.
Hey, thanks so much, Lenny, for having me. It was excellent.
Yeah, and for the Expona Audio Insider podcast, we will see you guys at Expona.